Good morning. How are we today? I hope you are good. I am brilliant. And today is the 20th of May, Monday. And you know, when it's Monday, yours truly is here to do my part, which is the presentation on Monday, which is usually based around right now. I mean, the whole series on Mondays is about unleashing your destiny. And specifically, we are on the quantum realm of the impossible. Some very, very deeply insightful stuff. That's just amazing. And you know, one of the things that makes this series so amazing is because I have been a student of this. So I'm not teaching something that I myself haven't gone through, something that I myself haven't experienced. And one thing that amazes me is that pretty much almost everything that's taught here is very real. It's very true. And over the weekend, something absolutely mind-blowing happened to me, which is purely down to the fact that this happens, the fact that we do this every day, the fact that I show up every single day and I do this. And you know, many times I always say this, it's not even about the numbers. It's just about you being consistent. It's about you being a professional. And what's amazing about this is that over time, you accumulate goodwill, if you will. You accumulate experience. There's so many positives that start to be born of this. But what's most profound is, besides all that, is the fact that out there you are sowing into the universe, into God's creation. And over time, that stuff you send out there activates something profound. And so yesterday I had what I call a quantum leap moment. I can't explain. Had a quantum leap experience. We don't waste time on these platforms. It proved to me that what you do, someone will see it. And as long as you are and have that door open, the question is, are you going to be ready? Are you going to be happy? I had one of those, and I had to call somebody in my circle just to let them know that, listen, Vajtika, 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen to what has happened. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was so profound. I'm still like, wow. It is so interesting that one of the most celebrated individuals, how can I, around a particular issue, a very sensitive, touchy issue concerning events around us. And so as they conversed, as they deliberated, as they sat there trying to figure out the best way to proceed, then my name dropped in there. So they were like, who can we find within the nation, within Zambia, within Africa, within the Southern African place that we feel could be able to adequately run with this, or adequately be a brilliant resource for us? That's the conversation that was going on. And in that conversation, two of these extremely distinguished individuals, take it from me, these are not your ordinary, people within our society. Extremely distinguished individuals threw my name on the table. And they said, there is that reverend, there is that pastor. His name is Reverend Walter Mwambazi. Oh, yes, Reverend Walter. And apparently I'm informed, I was not in that meeting, but I'm informed that a very serious conversation began, and they spoke. A number of these very distinguished individuals began to speak extremely highly of me. Like, imagine that. And they spoke so well and recommended my name. Oh, I'm breaking. Oh, my goodness. I really apologize. Let me check my network just to see which one I'm using. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Just double checking. I guess it's just one of those days. I hope it'll pick up. Please confirm for me if you're still seeing me well. If you're seeing me well, say yes, 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 yes. If not, I apologize. I honestly don't have any other network. This is the only network I can use. I just pray it will pick up. So somebody confirm to me if you're seeing me clearly. Oh, thank you, Sister Shupi. She's confirming that I'm better. So like I was saying, my name was dropped, and this was by very distinguished individuals, and they had really interesting things to say about me, apparently. And so that then led to a number of them reaching out to me and then asking me to become part of what they're doing. And literally, what just touched, what really just blessed my heart is the fact that they indicated that they would love me to be part of this particular organization. Can't give details, but it's a cutting edge organization whose aim and job is to bring about the transformation of the continent. Now, you can imagine that. And I was not there. And that's, and I think we talk so much about branding. We talk so much about all these things we do here. And I'm here to tell you that it's amazing how if any of us choose to be consistent in our space, soon our brand, our reputation, and who we are begins to precede us. And people will defend you when you're not there. People will drop your name when you're not there. People will speak of you when you're not there, and do so very highly. Even those you do not know, even people that you are looking up to. And that's what happened to me. These are people I look up to. I even commented to one of the individuals that reached out to me yesterday and said, I'm still processing this because I can't imagine, I cannot imagine an individual of that caliber reaching out to me and talking. So essentially what happened is we ended up having a total of 4 hours of conversation. I got 3 calls from all these diasporans and 1 local. And each of those calls was over an hour long. The first call was an hour, 10 minutes. The second call was an hour, 40 minutes. And the third call from this most distinguished gentleman, who even I look up to in absolute awe, called me. We've never spoken. And we ended up speaking for 1 hour, 10 minutes. It was overwhelming, ladies and gentlemen. And so when I teach about this quantum realm of the impossible and the ability to trigger things you don't see, unseen forces, suspending disbelief, seeking failure, all these things are real, my friends. They are real. It's not something I am making up. It's not something I'm saying to sound cool. It is stuff I am seeing happening in my own life. Many times, and it's not a joke, but I always say that for me, I know I'm going to be a millionaire in US dollars, a billionaire in Kwacha. I know that. It's not even a maybe, perhaps it will happen. So long as God grants me breath to live and to hit my 55, I will be a millionaire. How do I know this? Because there's a certain certainty about it. It's not visible now. You look around me, there isn't really much to write home about, but I know it'll happen. And why will it happen? Because I show up every day. You see, I cannot control the future, but I can control today. And if I can do what I need to do today, if I can pay the price today, which is something everyone in this team of ours is doing, you will see every one of the members in this team. I know it. I don't even doubt it. Every one of the members in this team is going to become a millionaire. And you know why? Because they are, and I'm talking about dollars, not kwacha. Why? Because they disperse into the universe what they are, and they do this consistently without relenting, whether it's a good day, whether it's a bad day, whether there's money or there's no money, whether there's noise or there's no noise, we show up. My friends, this is the price we are paying for our success. What are you doing? What's your love interest? What's the love pursuit you have for your destiny? What is it, my friends? That's what you need to do. You can't sit around and say, no, I'm waiting for the right opportunity. Opportunities are created by those that show up, not by those who chance. Believe me, the showing up is the differentiator. It's the game changer. Just show up and do you. And so today I pick it up. Remember, every day we're on this call. Monday it's myself. Tuesday is Dr. Sunshine Sylvia. Wednesday it's the open market. Thursday is Dr. Nelly, and Friday is Dr. Jackie, represented by Dr. Muranga. Powerful stuff. Last week the man spoke of some powerful things. I'm looking forward to his part 2. Today, I want to wind up the quantum realm and begin to show you some barriers, and it'll be very, very eye-opening for you. So remember this. I've said this several times, that I'm concluding the last 2, number 13 and 14, of the requirements that can result in a quantum leap in performance. And when it comes to a quantum leap, any level of life, corporate or personal, is capable of exponential growth. And if you are interested in learning more about this idea, I am always highly recommending Dr. Price Pritchard's book, U Squared, in which he further outlines the procedures for achieving a quantum leap in life or business. He states, we don't have to be content with incremental gradual change through the application of hard work. In short, he calls hard work useless. He says we are capable instead of an explosive jump in performance at an accelerated rate, and it requires less effort. So the key isn't just hard work, but smart work. Now, according to Dr. Pritchard, in this concluding 2 items, and of course I'm going to go into what I call the barriers, we finalized the summarized list which I gave earlier on. And so number 13 is make your move before you're ready. All right, I'll say that again. Make your move before you are ready. You don't prepare for a quantum leap, you make it and then fine tune as you go. That's one of the things that I found very profound about this whole truth. When you want to see success in your life, you can't wait until all the conditions are pristine, because that won't happen. It never does. All the greatest people that ever made anything worthy in this life did it when they were not ready. In fact, some of them didn't even want to go there, but divinity kicked in and they found themselves in that space. So the world is changing, and if you're not ready, you will be left behind. If you want to be successful in your career and life, then now, listen to me, now is the time to make your move, okay? But what does making a move really mean? Is it the same as going for it, or is it more like a quantum leap? Okay, well, that depends on how you define success, of course. If you're looking for financial security and a comfortable retirement, then yes, making a quantum leap can and will help you get there, as long as you prepare yourself for it. And then make sure that once you take that big leap, you are ready to fine-tune your plan as needed. So anyway, so here's some practical applications on making your move, okay? So the best way to start is just to start. Otherwise, you end up suffering from analysis paralysis. My good friend, God rest his soul, Galamukani, told me many years ago, back in 2011, he told me, my brother, was that 2011? Yeah, I think it was 2011. He told me that the best way to start in Dala is just to start. Don't wait for the pristine conditions. Pristine conditions are a con, they are a scam. Just go in there and see what happens. Of course, you're going to do your due diligence. You're going to do your preparations. You're going to plan. I mean, you're going to do all that stuff, strategy. I mean, all that stuff's good. But many times, let me tell you, many times you don't want to wait until everything is in place, because sometimes they just never will be. You just got to go in there and make it happen. All right, just start and then see what happens. It's never too late to start, in short, ever. So we all know that starting is hard, and it can be a cause for analysis paralysis. But the best way to overcome this is just to start. It's like getting into a cold bath. Just get in. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Because if you're going to be, you know, like the foot, you'll be doing that forever. So the best way is just, like, you're just getting that water and just, you know, and then you'll be good. That's the key. That's the key. Don't be like kind of trying to start. Just go in there, okay? You may be thinking that this is not possible because you haven't decided what you want to do yet, but actually, by starting, you will become more focused on your goal, because you start to realize what should be and shouldn't be done. Now, the logic is simple. When you want something, you tend to look for ways of getting it, and being able to get it means that you won't think about how to achieve your goals. So the more often you do this, the better the chances are that you will find a solution for your problem, because after some time, all problems become easier to solve. Alrighty. So another benefit of starting is that when you start something, there are no excuses left for not doing it, because everything starts from zero, and there are no obstacles like lack of motivation or beliefs which might stop us from achieving our goals. So if you have been hesitating in taking action, then now might be a good time for making changes in your life. And as the saying goes, the best time to have taken action was yesterday. The next best time, now. The worst time, tomorrow. Because tomorrow never comes. So the best quantum leaps can occur within that kind of mindset. So don't sit around. This is my point. Take action. Just don't sit around and keep on sitting around. And that's why many times, I think sometimes if you want to really motivate yourself, pay for something so that there's actually money that you put on it. And then that way you remember your money. Although some people are still so undecided that even when they pay money, they never get started. You know, like people who pay for the gym but never ever get to go to the gym. So maybe that might not work for some people. But for me, I believe totally that if I can give myself the discipline of committing to the process, I am more likely to run with it. So there you are. Number 14, very quickly, look inside for the opportunity. So the opportunity is inside. Everything else that is needed comes from inside of you, not from anything outside you. So people think, I need capital, I need connections, I need a network. Nonsense. That stuff is in you. You contain the capital. You contain the network. You contain the contacts. You contain the skills. You contain everything needed to start. So don't sit and say, oh, no, let me see, maybe, no, yeah, because you never do it. The opportunity is within you. It's within you, my friends. There's a lot of talk about opportunity these days, but what does it really mean? We're always being told that we need to go after opportunities that are out there. The world is full of opportunities, we're told. We just need to tap into them. What if all this talk about opportunities is just a bunch of baloney? Huh? What if all the opportunities are just delusions? What if all the opportunities in life were already inside of you? That's my point. You might be thinking, but how can I find those hidden opportunities inside myself? How does that happen? How does it come inside me? Well, that's where the magic comes in, my friends. There are some things you need to know about yourself before you can start tapping into your own potential for success. Firstly, you're already good enough. That's right. I want you to tell that to yourself. You are already good enough. I think maybe write that down. I usually don't ask people to write stuff, but I am good enough. Just tell yourself that I am good enough. Okay? Whilst you do need to always be improving your skills and knowledge, you don't need any more than what you have right now to harness or at least exploit the opportunity from within yourself. Okay? You can do anything you want to do because you already have everything you need inside of you. Yeah, I know that sounds very contrarian, but I mean it. I'm dead serious because, a lot of people get to this place where they say, but some people are just lucky. No, they just decided. That's the difference. It's nothing to do with luck. It's got to do with being decided. And the law of probability, there's a law called the law of probability. It states, if you keep doing the right thing repeatedly, you're bound to succeed. There's no way you can, I think it was Bruce Lee that said, you don't need to practice 1,000 different types of kicks, but one kick 1,000 times. Because you see, that one kick becomes perfect. You master that kick. And many times you'll be far more successful with that one kick than if you learned 1,000 different kind of kicks, because you'll really be a jack of all trades with no mastery. So the mastery comes from repetition within what you do. So remember, that is why the previous point spoke about just starting and fine-tuning as you go. A possibility mindset is a powerful ally to develop. So it's all inside of you. Secondly, you know exactly how to get started. All it takes is one step towards achieving something big. Set a goal, take an action toward achieving it, and keep going until your dream comes true. And as the Chinese saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That's right. It's those small steps that count when done consistently. Okay, and as I said before, take that all important one step. Keep making one step after another, and before you know it, you will have covered a mile or even miles behind you. The key is one step at a time. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, and just keep going, and one day, before you know it, when you look back, you go, oh my God, is that how far I've gone? Yes, my friend, that's how far you have gone. Alrighty, so some practical applications. If you are dreaming it, you are the visionary. And that means all you need is already around and within you. You just need to look harder. So the fact that you're dreaming it, oh, I dream of this, that means it's already in you. The fact that you dream it means you have what it takes. The only challenge is that most people don't know that. You know, I always say that God is the God of the end and the beginning, but he's also the God of the in-between. He shows us the end from the beginning, but he never shows us the in-between. The in-between is where that famous scripture that says, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter and the glory of kings is to search it out. That's where that scripture comes in. Everything of value is concealed, my friends. Minerals are concealed. Great things are hidden. They must be sought. The Bible says, ask and you shall be given, knock and you shall find. Sorry. It says, ask and you shall be given, seek and you shall find, and then knock and the door shall be opened. That's how God created the universe. So everything of value is always pursued. Whew! That's a revelation right there, my friends. Now, the key to unlocking your creativity potential is to have a vision. I believe we all do through the power of a dream. Okay? So this may sound like a no-brainer, but it really isn't. In fact, the ability to dream really big has been shown by science to be one of the best predecessors or predictors of success in any area of life. Dream big and pursue it, okay? And here's the thing. You don't have to be an artist or scientist or anything else specific to be able to dream. You just need a vision for what you want your life to look like and how you want it to feel. The more specific your vision is, the better it'll work for you. This is also true when it comes to whatever it is you envision, not just for you, but for society as well. The greater the burden, the more powerful the vision. So, but then how do we get there? How do we figure out our life goals, okay? We start by asking ourselves questions like, what do I want my life to look like 10 years from now? 20 years from now? 50 years from now? And when I'm gone, what will I be remembered for? Then we answer those questions by thinking about what kind of person would like to be in those situations. Someone who has been successful at their work, one who has a loving family, etc., etc. But the above my life can be substituted by community or society or business or just about any aspect of whatever you feel like is a cause that you will run with to facilitate your transformation. You will realize that much of those who the word calls visionary today all started in the same manner. They saw something in their lives or community that bothered them so much that a spark was ignited that triggered the vision that began the mission. Right? It began the mission. Now let me try in the last 7 minutes, I don't know if I'll make it, to start giving you the barriers, okay? The barriers to achieving this quantum leap. And I know I won't finish this, but this is heavy stuff. I will just take my time because it's so profound. And I'm going to begin with an illustration. So for the umpteenth time, John Sakala, not the real name, wrote his meticulous list of goals at the beginning of the year and was very optimistic about it. He had done all things right, including attending the New Year overnight prayers, a very popular activity amongst us Pentecostal charismatics. He had sown his seed for the year at that same debate, so he did his freezing. I'm saying I'm frozen. Just confirm if I'm still visible or I'm still frozen. Please confirm by responding, because today the internet hasn't been the best. Liquid claimed that somebody cut a cable somewhere. I'm just hoping I'm okay. So please confirm, ladies and gentlemen, if you can see me. I'm waiting. Just type yes, yes, or no, we can't, and then I don't even know what I'm going to do if you guys can't see me. Thank you, Glenn. Let's continue. So he had sown his seed at the said event, then prepared and gave his first fruit offering. So he was one of those that believed in the first fruit thing. And then had the year's theme pasted everywhere he could put it, in his diary, in the Bible, church notes, and even on his profile picture on social media handle. And once more, continued faithfully tithing. So this John Sakala was ticking, he had all the boxes checked, right? Yet by mid-year, nothing remotely resembling his list, let alone the church theme, was happening in his life. And this time around, he was becoming extremely frustrated because he just wasn't seeing anything happen. And then worse still, his colleagues were making fun of his resolutions, which never worked, based on what was happening in his life. If anything, the opposite of his list was happening. His marriage was frosty at best and downright dead. Okay, his family was the personification of dysfunction. His career was really on the rocks. There was absolutely no job stability. Attempts at business were terribly bad. Okay, never really registered any profit, and his health was relatively questionable because he had high BP and what seemed like the onset of diabetes. So this entire scenario was completely incongruent to what he desired. In other words, it was not matching his desires. Okay, this and his frustration was that he had been doing this whole positive confession and prosperity stuff for years, and yet nothing was changing. And he had now reached a place where, there we go, he had reached a place where he believed it was all fake and a ruse by his pastor and their church to keep fleecing money and resources out of him. Let me just pause there. How many people do you know who feel like this? You're probably watching this and you've been following these things, including this series. This is like your third year, second year, I don't know. And you're feeling like this. So I don't want you to type, yes, it's me, yes, but just think about this and tell me how many people you know who are in this space. I can tell you I'm not in that space. And I can say it with a lot of pomp. I am not in that space. But you know what? 6, 7 years ago, I was there. I was also feeling like, I think this is a scam. I think they're mucking around. I think this thing is a lie. Okay? Now, let me pause there and then continue. This earlier stated mind John was in was what he had when he came to see me. Okay? I had empathy for him because I too at one point in my life found myself in that position. Though I never doubted the messages and the things requested, I too realized that something wasn't right. I mean, we're doing all these things. We're tithing, we're going to church, we're praying, we're giving seed, we're doing whatever, attending overnights, and all the other jazz that goes with this thing. Why are we not seeing success? And then the worst part, of course, is that many times, inevitably, we end up like all other humans, starting to ask ourselves and say, how come that guy doesn't even pray? How come that guy doesn't even do anything remotely resembling the righteousness that I'm leading? Because a lot of people think that just because they are living right in terms of obedience to God, then they should see these things happen. So we all get into that rut, and it's not a good rut, but everyone I know has been there. And we can read it in the Bible. In the book of Psalms, you see typical complaints in that book, which include things like, how come the wicked are prospering? They're not even calling on your name or doing anything, but they're prospering in their lives. And then here I am, I'm a righteous man. I'm not seeing anything. Why? Why, Lord? Why? Anybody identify? I know what you mean. Okay? So John came and he was in that state. And it was when I sought to understand why, when I got to learn about barriers that prevent many people from achieving a quantum leap in performance. In short, John was a victim of, drumroll, here's the word, incongruence. Write that down. You can even write it in the comments. Incongruence. And I was I don't know if you can call it a victim. I don't think it's a victim. I think it's a state. And it's got nothing to do with anything. It's just a state. And what you need to do is learn. So what I'm going to be sharing next week will be a hack. How do you hack incongruence? But anyway, I was in that state a number of years back. And by the grace of God, you know, the beauty about seeking, and this is the part I find amazing. The beauty about a seeker is you will find. That's why the Bible talks about what? Ask and you shall be given. Ask. So when you ask and when you tell God, but honestly, Lord, why? And you fast and you seek God, in his mercy, he will start to show you. My daughter, my son, right there. Oh, over there. Oh. And if you think I'm kidding with this stuff, the Bible even says it. Though it's a pity I can't open my Bible, but it's a very powerful scripture. It says, maybe let me read it out of the African Bible. Although I don't like the African Bible, because it's dodgy. Where is that Bible? No, okay, here it is. I'm going to read this for you because it's extremely powerful. Let me read this passage. Isaiah 30, verse 19. Isaiah 30, verse 19. This is too powerful, so I just have to read it out for you. Yeah, like I said, this African Bible has got so many funny books in it, so you can get quite lost. They've included all the apocryphas and things like that. They've got Sirach, they've got all these strange books. So even when you flick through it, you really suffer to find the part. Okay, I found it. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 19. The Bible reads, and I quote, there it is, up here now. Verse 19, it says, Aha. All people of Zion who dwell in Jerusalem, no more will you weep. He will be gracious to you when you cry out. As soon as he hears you, he will answer you. The Lord will give you the bread you need and the water from which you thirst. No longer will you, okay, it's really, really different. This is the Dway version, so it just changes it completely. The Bible says, though the Lord had given you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, these will no longer be. That's what the Bible says. For your teachers also shall not be hidden from you anymore, but you with your own eyes you will see a teacher. And a voice shall come from behind and say, this is the way, walk in it. In other words, as you keep praying, a voice will show up, a teacher will show up, and a guide will come to your rescue, and they will guide you. Just like me, and just like John here, he got guidance. So for those not familiar, let me now close with this. So for those not familiar, incongruence can be broadly described as the state of not being suitable or not fitting well with something else. An example of incongruent behavior is when someone says they will start working on his business ideas as soon as he buys a new car. Now, this person buys a new car with the help of his partner or spouse, but does not start the business either way. This behavior is incongruent because his statement does not match his actions, or her statement does not match her actions. So in a deeper sense, incongruence in personal performance happens when our thoughts or beliefs, if you like, words and action do not match. Okay? So for many, they speak yet do not believe what they say, and their actions are completely out of alignment. Or else they take action but have no belief whatsoever, as evidenced by their thoughts, always seeing what could possibly go wrong. Okay? And in the things they are doing. Okay, so in short, they are full of doubt and their entire viewpoint is defaulted to the negative. Okay, so that's the biggest challenge these types of people face. Now, in concluding, let me conclude this. So in concluding, where am I now? What's happening in my notes today? All right, there we are. So whenever they start something, they always look out for what could go wrong and keep a mental list of all the things that could be a barrier. And worse still, because of this, when these marked events occur, they immediately recognize them and then mentally affirm what they feared, thereby reinforcing that negative outlook that was imagined in the first place. So then, people like John, who make up a good majority, unfortunately, tend to live their lives with mental barriers deeply programmed and embedded in the subconscious mind, such as the fear of uncertainty. Now, these are the thinking they have, right? The fear of uncertainty, familiarity in their comfort zones, sticking to the norm and approved ways, which is peer pressure, fear of not being good enough, fear of missing out, and the greatest barrier itself, the fear of failure. So 6 of these barriers sit in front of most of these people and stop them from ever progressing. Okay, now these stand as fearsome walls. Picture walls about 10 meters high, really high walls, no means by which you can climb them, no tools, and these stand in front and they completely stand as an insurmountable, indomitable barrier that they can't pass, and they exist in their mind. Okay, and so that these fearsome walls have gotten even the best of us to fear stepping out and pushing their performance activities to the max, opting instead to conform and blend. And unfortunately, these then remain a blockade in the life of people like John Sakala, and remain that way in spite of the list of activities done at the beginning of every year. So they are doing these activities, but deep within them, the frame that they're holding on to is a mess. It's a messed up frame, and that frame has already envisioned failure and all the challenges that I just listed out. I want to close by repeating these these barriers. And then next week I'm coming and I begin to show you how we're going to break them. So what are the 6 barriers that stand in the minds of most people? Let me tell you. The fear of uncertainty, the familiarity of their comfort zones, the sticking to norm and approved ways. We call it peer pressure. The fear of not being good enough. Okay? The fear of missing out. And the greatest barrier, the fear of failure. So these 6 are indomitable forces that have blocked so many people. So next week, I want you to join me, and I'm going to now go through the process of neurophysiology to show you how these barriers are so powerful and why they are so powerful and why they remain so indomitable and why most people never break past these. So to break past these, you will learn. I will show you. But you know, even if I show you, you have to deal with your belief system. Belief systems are very powerful. In the words of my many neuro-linguistic programming teachers, beliefs are like unwritten commands. They are so deeply embedded that even when you don't recognize it, they control everything you do. They have a say. They have a power to determine even what you see. Even what you see is controlled by your barriers in the mind. So if these barriers are in the mind, existing at the subconscious level in your frame, you're pretty much screwed. I don't care. You can sit with Anthony Robbins for 10 days. If these barriers are not dealt with, you're not going anywhere. So any great neuro-linguistic coach, any great neuropsychology and neuro-leadership coach knows the first thing to deal with are the frames and the beliefs, because that's where the problem lies. And so I hope you got it. Sorry for going over by this 7 minutes, but I hope you had something to learn. Tag someone, tell them, my friend, next week they should not miss, because on Monday next week, I am coming back and we're going to pick it up right from here. Barriers to taking a quantum leap in life. These barriers are scary and they block many people from ever progressing. Do not miss. Have a great day. God bless you. Tomorrow, it's Dr. Sunshine Sylvia with her session. Don't you miss. Come back on the same spot.